see, voice of the people. See, voice of the people.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my top 100 games of all time. Today we are cracking into the top half of my choices, 50 through 41. I'm very excited. There's a lot of classics on this piece of the list here, and a few new additions that really have come along to surprise me, to delight me. Some of these games have grown on me over time. Some of them were instant favorites. But enough about that. Let's get right into them with my number 50, a classic from Stefan Feld, one of my favorite games still from Stefan Feld. This is Notre Dame. Notre Dame was my 79, and it's moved on up to 50. I've had this game for a long time. I find it to be a delightful game. This is one of the games that I think does drafting as part of the whole package. It's not really a drafting game, but it utilizes drafting in a simple, elegant way, and it really works wonders for the whole package. And I think that's what I like about Stefan Feld. When he's firing on all cylinders, he uses a little bit of many things to give you a wonderful package. Now, by that same token, sometimes he gives you a lot of disconnected pieces that don't make any sense together. So there are some games from him that just do not captivate me. But this one does all the little things it does beautifully. And so I think it's a wonderful Euro-style game. Check it out. Notre Dame. My number 49 is a cooperative game, which was my 33 last time I did the list. And that is Forbidden Desert. Forbidden Desert, of course, being in the same line as Forbidden Island. And while I found Forbidden Island to be cute, it was kind of like Pandemic Light. Forbidden Desert was an original idea, a wholly original idea. And the idea in the game is with the shifting sands, with the discovery of the tiles, the whole thing really gives me that vibe of an exploratory cooperative game, which I don't really come across too often. A game in which you are not just trying to solve a puzzle, but discovering things, right? There's that exploration feel to it. I talked about on one of my earlier segments for my top 100, I talked about Tikal and how that game, whenever I thought exploration, that was the one game that came to mind. I think Forbidden Desert has a little bit of that in it and combines it with cooperation, which I adore, right? It's one of my favorite genres. So Forbidden Desert, very neat game, well done, everything's well implemented, gorgeous artwork, fires on all cylinders for me. My number 49 is a brand new game to the list. This is Shakespeare, and Shakespeare is delightfully themed. It is beyond gorgeously illustrated, and in it you are placing some workers, you are going through a week of rehearsal, putting on a play. The way in which you acquire new actors or new workers, the actions you can take, the way you build up the set, the way you can make costumes for people is all fairly abstracted, but very intricate and clever and engaging, I find. I think the whole system is, the first time I played it, I was very quickly captivated. And the more I heard what the rules were, the more I understood how everything clicked, the more impressed I was, and the game has just grown and grown on me. This even has a single-player mode, a solitaire mode, which I found all right, but it's there, and it works, and it's, if you're someone who really likes solitaire games, that might be another reason to look into this one. I play solitaire games to a degree, and I played this one, I thought it was fun, again, but if you're someone who just adores having a solo mode included in a game, that's another thumbs up for this one. Shakespeare, really good, great Euro-style game. My 47 was my 48 last year, and I want to say that has to be the closest that any game, probably in the entire 100, was to when I made the list in 2014. A single space off, so clearly a lot of staying power here, and this is another Stefan Feld game. I want to say my favorite Stefan Feld game? There might be another one, I'm not sure. Bruges! And Bruges just, makes its way into my heart because I love cards. I adore card games, and this one has multi-function cards. I love cards that do many different things. And in this one, You can use a card and just flip it face down. It's just a building. Or you can hire the person. Or you can use it to get more workers. Or you can use it to, there's all these different things you can do with the cards. And there's the board on top of that. And so the whole thing is just really, there's a lot of different choices. But every one of those is clean. It's straightforward. I can take a turn and be done with it like that. And I like that. I like that I can quickly take my turns. I like that the whole game is attractive. And thematically, it's all right. Nothing to write home about. But mechanically, it is wonderful and tight and well done. So that's why I like it so much. And again, I'm a huge fan of cards. And these are great, great cards. So that is my 47, Bruges. My 46 is a brand new game. And this is a brand new game to the list anyway, from my favorite designer, and that is Bruno Catala. This is Abyss. And Abyss, I remember the first time I played at a convention. I thought it was good. I thought it was fine. And the more I've played, the more I've liked it. Every time I play this game, it feels like I like it a little bit more. And I find that it ends just at the right time, and the actions are just what I want, and the clever little powers are just cool enough. And if something's all so powerful, then it gets covered up in a few turns, and so not everything can just keep on giving, The whole game is the concept. Everything is designed around the idea of the more you do for you, the more you give to other people. And I think it's brilliant and really well incorporated because it's everywhere. The more you want to dig through the pile of cards and give yourself just that perfect card, the more you're making available to everyone else. And you give each other pearls when you buy things, and the whole thing, just a great vibe to it, great cadence to this game, and some of the best artwork in the business. This game won all sorts of awards for artwork alone. But I feel like that overshadows the game almost these days, but not for me. I love the game. A lot of people do not like this game as much as I do, and I understand that. That's fine, but for me, adore it. So that is Abyss, my 46. My number 45 was my 28, so it's dropped a little bit, but this is an old classic for me. Pillars of the Earth, a great worker placement game, and one of the first ones, if not the first one, I could not remember that I played in that style, and I thought, this is unbelievable. This idea of picking what I want before someone else goes there, of all these options being available to me, and I can do whatever you want. That's the wonderful thing about worker placement games, is that they give you this freedom. They lay it all out there for you and give you all the choices. What do you want? You can do anything you want to, and so this game gives me that feeling. And then, as you play, you kind of customize your road through the game. You get special cards. You want to focus on buying goods and selling them back, fine. You want to just get the king's aid, fine. You want to, worry about what special events or special effects are coming down the pipe, fine. You can worry about that, And I just like it a lot. It's great, mechanically sound. It's got this amazing idea of pulling tokens from a bag and placing your master builders out there, but the earlier you come out of the bag, the more you pay. And you can choose to say, I'm not going to pay. But then you're placed on a waiting, spot, and then when everybody else is gone, we go back to you. So, do you really want to wait till everybody else has a shot, The whole thing is amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm not even a fan of the theme. I've never read the book. Don't particularly care for the theme in the game, and the game is still brilliant. So that's my 45. My number 44 was my 83 last time, and this is Carcassonne the City, which is my favorite Carcassonne. But really, if you want, this can stand for all of my Carcassonne pick. But I'm picking specifically the City because it is my favorite. I think it looks the best. I think it's the most interesting. It's got those amazing walls you can build around the whole thing. It evolves in stages. So you finish this stage. Stage 2, you now build walls. Stage 3, you build walls faster and all of that. And the game, Carcassonne, has always been just a really great design. And the city is a refinement, I feel, of all the things that were sort of learned over the years from the different versions of Carcassonne. For me, the best one. And I really like tile placement games. I think this is one of the very, very best ones. So, Carcassonne, The City, my 44. My 43 is also a tile laying game with a little bit of an economy going on in it. Was my 39, which is almost the same thing, and that is Vegas Showdown. Vegas Showdown is a game in which you are building a casino, and you are bidding on the different things. Like, oh, I want to buy that restaurant. I want to get those slot machines. Oh, let me get that lounge. And you are bidding, but it's got that great bidding mechanism where you just put a token out there of what you want, and someone else can come in and place a token after you, bumping you out, and you cannot return to the very same thing, right? This has been used in other games like Amun-Re, things like that. And so you want to be careful where you go, because if you want that lounge and you bid on it, someone else comes in and bids after you, you can't just immediately rebid on the lounge. Now, you could go somewhere where you're hoping to get bumped off and come back to the lounge, but maybe no one bumps you off, And then on top of all of that interesting bidding and sort of pushing your luck, you have this board in front of you and you're placing the tiles you want on it and trying to get, everything played just right, building your floor plan. The whole thing is, the production is not great. I do wish someone would come out with a deluxe version of this, but the game is very solid and has been one of my favorites for some time now. I like the theme. It's good. It works well. And the gameplay is wonderful. So, and this is actually the rare heavier games. Not heavy. It's like, it's got more moving parts than your typical filler. But it's the rare game in that vein that I can play with my parents and they both adore it. It's very funny to me. It amuses me that when I taught it to them, they were like, yeah, we like, what, you do? Was not expecting that, but I was very happy to find that out. My 42 was my 26 last time. It's dropped a little bit, but again, that's only less than 20 spots, and this is Dixit, the classic party-style game in which you all pick a card, and someone, whoever the leader of the round is, looks at their cards and they say, it's tough out here. And you play a card in their face down, and you say whatever you want, and then everybody looks at their cards and then referencing what you said, it's tough out here. They pick a card, throw it in there, they all get shuffled up, they all get displayed face up, and they all have some crazy drawings on them, and everybody looks at the selection and picks, secretly, the one they think was the original player's card. And then we reveal that. And so that's it. That's the game. You continue doing this until someone wins. But the idea that you can involve players so much, the idea that it is up to the group to make this game, really, is pretty fascinating. Especially when it comes to party-style games. So many party-style games are much more in the hand-holding camp. This is what you do, this is how you do it. Now stand up and put a hand on your head, and and every time someone calls your name, you have to stand up and spin and sit back down. I mean, again, they tell you this is how you will have fun. And this game is very open-ended and has a lot of beautiful, bizarre, dreamy drawings to boot. I like it a lot. A lot of people do like it a lot. And that's why it's on my list. Goes over well with many, many different groups as well. That is Dixit, my 42. And finally, for this set, a brand new game to the list, my 41, Onitama. And Onitama is a two-player abstract game in which you are fighting not just against your opponent, but against yourself a little bit. And the reason I say that is because in the game, you have only two moves in front of you that you can make. And you have your few pieces. It's a very minimalistic game. And once you've picked a piece and picked a move, and you make that move, you then take that card that you used to make that move and put it on the table and take another card that was sitting there, making that card available to your opponent next time. And so it's quite likely in this game that if you lose, you gave your opponent the card that they needed to beat you. Which is interesting because there's only 5 moves. We each have 2, and there's a fifth one there sitting on the side. And so you really have to not just think about where you got to end up and how to knock out the other player's pieces, but what am I making available? You know, the whole thing is 10, 15 minutes, but it's such a wonderful, streamlined, minimalistic design, such a beautiful package that I remember the very first time I played it, I thought, well, first thing I thought was, let's play again, which we did, and then again. But I thought this is exactly what I like in abstract games. Few rules, lots of depth. You know, that's what makes them so great. You know, you have to explain a couple of things, and then you sit there and go, I'm gonna get entrapped over here, aren't I? Or I'm gonna pull a fast one if I can do it. That's the beauty of them, and Onitama gives me that. So that is my 41. And that brings us to the end of this chunk of the list. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We are going to continue very soon. Thanks for joining me as always, and I will see you next time. Take care.
Z can be a little polemic. He stings like the 8th outbreaking pandemic. Z's got flavor in his top 100 games.
Lice shower.
Z Garcia, voice of the people. Z Garcia, voice of the people.